Okay, good evening, everyone. This is Ron. It is Monday, April 13th, 2026, 6:03 p.m. And let's get started, see if we have any questions. On yesterday, we talked about a lot of things, but something I thought was very interesting is we talked about current affairs, what's going on in the world, particularly with the war and the three religions involved and what's going on with America's side of it. But we didn't talk about it from a political perspective or just to be informative. But we talked about it from the perspective of looking at it spiritually and looking at our role in this and understanding that we are not to look at this or get caught up in it and be fearful or looking at all the chaos, but to understand who we are and the energy that we are, and not to be fearful that anything can harm us. We talked about the potential of what may happen economically in the world, especially to us in this country, but some of that may indeed uh, be sort of harsh, but that it won't last long. And again, just remembering who you are. And the other thing I thought was extremely important is to remember that your spirit, your energy, is what has stirred all this up. So there's absolutely nothing for us to fear. And a lot of other things talked about, Kathy talked about energy. We talked about chaos and confusion a little bit. Uh, and Pastor even talked about meditation, the importance of meditation. But and I'm sure something I'm missing. But any questions and or comments on any of that? Okay. Any questions, comments about something else anything else that may have gotten your attention today or yesterday? Anybody? Of
Ron, this is Evelyn. I would like to make a comment.
course.
Yesterday was enlightening. I mean, we always have soul food to go throughout the universe. And yesterday and Saturday was very helpful to me because sometimes fear can creep into my thoughts.
Yeah.
Um, but yesterday was just awesome. And we didn't talk too much about stuff, but we covered a lot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So, yes, yeah, yesterday was needed, and I really appreciate the teaching that went forth to all of us. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
No, thank you. That's appreciated. You're exactly right.
Yes, appreciate it. Thank you.
Pastor, did you want to? I'm sorry. I thought I saw somebody else come off mute. George, did you have something? How we doing, man? You doing all right?
All is well, all is well.
Okay.
Yesterday, as you mentioned and as Evelyn stated, was an awesome time of enlightenment spiritually. And what came to, my spirit when we were speaking about fear, and I know that we've all heard the scripture before, we all maybe have read the scripture, but I saw it in a new light in terms of first second Timothy chapter 1 verse 7. And again, it may be familiar to a lot of us, but I just saw it in a different way where it says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear,
Hmm.
but of power and love and a sound mind. And I think in that verse is so much that we have talked about in terms of our mind, in terms of the power that we have, in terms of knowing who we are. But the first word, God, and I think that is just for some reason, totally a different spirit that I'm sensing when I look at it now and I think about God. And I know we talked about, the picture of the white Jesus. I know we talked about things that we may have saw in the past that we have, what I mean, given
Mhm.
all of our understanding of, but I just see it differently now. And I don't know if that's how others feel, but I just wanted to mention that because it did draw up a lot of energy, in terms of what manifested what manifested yesterday. So I just wanted to mention that, Ron. I don't know how other people feel
Yeah.
about it, but I know I've seen that scripture, said that scripture, quoted that scripture. But I think to be able to understand it from the Caballonian mindset just
Yeah.
gives me a total different enlightenment and upliftment, in terms of who I am. I'm done. I'm going to share those thoughts.
Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Any other
Thank
questions or comments?
This is Vermel. I have a question. Thank you for yesterday, but my question is in regards to Ron had brought up, I think, a Saturday ago, not this past Saturday, but the previous, about Cain and Abel being
what I brought up, Emil, is uh I see Cain and Abel being two sides of the same coin, and
mhm.
I see them being the mind speaking, how the mind speaks to us. And that is a chapter that keeps drawing me in and looking at that. But I like you to ask your question, but I'm going to ask you, please, if you don't mind, let me look at that again, and
Okay.
hopefully somebody else can look at it as well. So so
Place it on hold for right now and we'll get back
well,
to it.
go ahead and ask your question, and just remember it if you remember your question, but it'll give me something to think about and focus on.
Well, in them being the same two sides of a coin, right?
Hmm.
And Sage was expounding a little later on, it kind of came to my mind that is that what happened when we covered up, when we took on the untruths and we started living physically with our eye versus spiritually with our eye, which we're learning to uncover all that? Is that the correlation to that? I guess that's what I want to ask. Is that what we did? We took on the
Uh,
Neanderthal mindset and mixed it up with who we are spiritually.
yeah, I think I understand what you're asking, and I think that's an excellent question, and I do think it fit. I had not seen that part of it. Uh, you mind if I take a look at that?
No,
And,
I don't.
and I invite others to look at it as well. Maybe that'll be a discussion in the very near future. But I
Okay.
have considered that part of it. Yeah.
You know what?
Thank you. Hmm.
I think that um, actually fits or is a part of what I want to talk about tonight.
Okay.
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 And the way I see that is that Cain is indicative of our physical experiences, our physical life, and as you said, the life of the Neanderthal. And Abel speaks to or a representative of our spiritual life, our spiritual nature, our God nature. And just as we have um, embraced the Cain aspects of our characteristics more so than we have embraced the spiritual essence of who we really are. I see Cain as being the symbol of religion, and Abel being the symbol of what spirituality or enlightenment. And the religion killed Abel, meaning that religion made an attempt to bury Abel, yet Abel continues to cry out. His blood cries out from the ground, which means that his life is still crying out for deliverance. His life is crying out for our deliverance, for the deliverance from this. This Neanderthal European mindset. Can you see that? Are you able to see that?
Yes.
So in addition to that, any questions about that portion before I go to the next part of it? Are you guys able to see that? Does it resonate? Okay, I'm going to say it does because you didn't say it didn't.
It resonates.
Well, it does resonate, but the additional part of that is it applies to the individual too, with the two natures of the individual, the specific person as well,
Yes.
and it can be you extrapolated it to include the collective.
Yeah.
But does it not also talk about this war that we have internally within ourselves, the id and the ego, all of that stuff that Ron was talking about, the two natures?
Oh yeah, most definitely. We have to recognize the war is being waged internally within us, and in order, if we don't recognize that, and if we don't make efforts to purge those antithetical thoughts and concepts from us, it is virtually impossible for us to recognize that we are a part of a collective consciousness. Is that a part of what you are seeing, Barbara Jean?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I want us, go ahead.
Well, I have a question. So is Cain and Abel duality, and is one feminine and one masculine? The concept?
No, not masculine and feminine. They are symbols of who we are, period. Cain represents your body. Abel represents your spirituality.
But the question does come into play. And that's kind of what got me looking at it from the perspective that I did. If you look at this, it says, verse 1 says, now the man had relation with his wife. And then it says in verse 2, it says, again, she gave birth to his brother Abel. But it does not say until verse 25, it says, Adam had relationship with his wife again. So the masculine and feminine energy does not come together but twice. It comes together at the birth of Cain and Abel, and it comes together at the birth of Seth. So that's what made me look at that and say that they are part of the same energy, Cain and Abel, that is. I don't think you have one without the other. And I think Seth, which means to replace or to do this thing again, is talking about something totally separate. That's the importance of the masculine and feminine. I think just to kind of answer or look at what Evelyn is asking. So the two of them, Cain and Abel, don't represent masculine and feminine energy. That is done with Adam and Eve. And then that's when it gets interesting. So Seth doesn't come about until there's a murder.
Um,
Thing, yeah.
I want I want to look at that from from how I see this whole concept of Adam and Eve differently.
Yeah.
The Hebraic translations are not as clear or as
Excuse me.
they are unclear, just as the New Testament translations are. And what I'm saying is that the Europeans also translated what is called the Old Testament, which means that they copied from the scrolls. And instead of talking about a cosmic mother bringing everything into existence, it said Adam and Eve, a man and a woman, and that the woman was made from the man, which is contrary to Kemetic understanding of creation, Kemetic understanding of the principles of life themselves. So when I look at that, what I actually see is a contamination of femininity by inserting the dominance of masculinity in terms of bringing the woman into existence, femininity into existence, as well as bringing Cain and Abel into existence, because I don't see Cain and Abel as people at all. I see them as concepts. And when I look at this conceptually, I see that in this earth, what being brought into this earth was the knowledge of good and evil, rightness and unrightness. I also see that this rightness and unrightness is another way of saying life, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Cain representing the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and Abel represents being representative, symbolic of the tree of life. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Processing.
Okay, let me take another. I'll take another stab at it. We have concluded, based upon Kemetic writings, that there is no such thing as Adam and Eve. Have we not? Yes or no?
That's correct.
Right.
So if there is no Adam and Eve, then what is it? It's the cosmic mother, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You're right.
Okay, so it's the cosmic mother, and the idea, which you on please, the idea of Cain and Abel is a principle. They are principles, just as the cosmic mother is, because the cosmic mother is not a physical entity and never was and never will be. It is an energy force that brought into existence everything that is. And this energy force brought into existence the knowledge of good and evil, as well as the knowledge of life itself, or the understanding of life itself. And in doing so, when we speak of Cain and Abel, we're speaking about religion. We're speaking about the tree of knowledge of good and evil. When we talk about Abel, we are talking about the knowledge. We're talking about the tree of life itself, which means that we are talking about the light in the pineal gland, as well as. And when we talk about Cain, we are talking about the lies that we received based upon religion and the concepts of religion that were tools of enslavement. And when we look at Seth, we see a combination of the two. And that combination of the two is speaking to how we, this is a symbol of how we function in this earth with the spiritual nature of our being, as well as with the Neanderthal mindset, or the European mindset of religion that has brought us to the place where we are now. Are you able to see that?
Yes, sir. So I have a question.
Okay. Wait,
Are
wait 1 second. Is there anyone who doesn't see it? Okay, Evelyn.
this may sound far-fetched, but then, so, oh, and this is a question, are we rewriting scripture or we're just decoding who we are?
We are not rewriting scripture at all. We are becoming aware of who we are. And what we are becoming more and more aware of is the consciousness that guides us, and the consciousness that has been guiding us from our inception, that was shrouded by religion that was forced upon us. Does that help you?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Oh, yes, ma'am. You're quite welcome. Ron?
I don't see it as a rewriting, of course, but I do see it as a straightening out, bringing truth to it and bringing an awakening to it, taking it off of the pages from just being history or being words that somebody wrote and putting life in it. So I think it's what we're doing has its place in the macro, like we talk about most things that we engage in. I think this is just as necessary to bring life to what it was has always been confusing in the earth.
I agree. I agree 100%. And in doing that, it brings a sense of awareness to humanity. It was something, I was talking with someone today, and I know what it was. And what we talked about was the presence, the war. Because of the war, what is needed to make fluoride is not readily available, and they are reducing the fluoride in the water across the country. And they issued a public service announcement saying that they were reducing it, but don't worry, as soon as things are settled, they would increase their fluoride in the waters. So I took that as being a message to us when we talked about the decalcification of the pineal gland. We understand who we are. So we also understand that we don't need the absence of fluoride to decalcify the pineal gland, because we are God and we know that there is nothing impossible for us. However, there are people who don't recognize that. And in order for them to pick up some things out of the macro that are essential, the decalcification of that pineal gland is taking place simply because it is a desire that we have, because of how the reason that fluoride was used in water and toothpaste in the first place. to calcify the pineal gland. There would be no efforts to calcify the pineal gland if they do not understand the power that's within it. And that would not be a symbol of the pineal gland in the courtyard of the Vatican if they do not understand that it's powerful, even though they cannot access it because of the lack of melanin. So having said all of that, let me see if this is clear before I look at Matthew 18.
Can I tell you why I asked that question earlier?
Sure.
If we're decoding and if we're rewriting, it's because I remember about 10 years ago, that's been a minute, you had said that suppose we are the Bible. And that's why I asked that question.
Okay.
Are we decoding or are we just rewriting the Bible? But okay, that's my thought. Thank you.
See, we have to be the written scrolls themselves, because all of it came from a case of consciousness, and that's who we are. So if you don't mind, let's look at Matthew 18:9, please. And I know verse 8 talks about the feet and the hands, and it's better to be maimed rather than having 2 hands and 2 feet going into everlasting fire. That is not my focus at this moment. The focus is Matthew 9. And if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. It is better for thee. Would you make sure your phones are muted, please? It is better for thee to enter into life with one eye rather than having 2 eyes to be cast into hellfire. What is this talking about? And I'm sure that 99% of us have read this verse or heard it preached or heard it read, and without really it being explained to us, other than the difference between heaven and hell. And I'm saying that according to the Kasich consciousness, this is far more than that non-descriptor of what it means. This is talking about is better for your eyes. If your eyes offend you, then it's better to pluck it out, pluck them out, and cast it from you. Why? Because your eyes are an offense to you, because you are living according to what your eyes see. And it is better to enter into life with one eye, meaning that it is better for you to close your eyes or to cast your eyes away from you and see with the eye, or the eye. That's how you enter into life itself, understanding who you are. That's how you begin to live according to the way that you are supposed to live. When your eyes are closed, there is a transcendency that takes place. We transcend the material world, and we enter into the world of spirituality. As long as our eyes are open, we are blind to spirituality. We are in a state of chaos. We are in a state of turmoil. And more importantly, we are in a state of ignorance. So when our eyes are open, we are actually asleep. And we are asleep to what reality is. We are asleep to what to who we are, and the light that we are. But when we are awakened, we become the woke people. And becoming the woke people means that we have shifted from external perception into realizing the internal truth, meaning that we now see that consciousness itself is impossible for us to embrace in totality the boundless nature of consciousness. Yet, it is the consciousness, it is the embracing of consciousness, which reveals to us that we are embracing ourselves. The eyes must be covered in order to reveal the I to us. Questions about that before I keep moving? Comments? When we look at the pineal gland, we've talked about the pineal gland is the space, excuse me, that we live in, meaning that we are light, and the light that we are is in the pineal gland, and I will get deeper into that in a few moments. But for a moment, if I may, I want to talk about the pineal gland, and not only that it is light for the whole body. The body is the temple that receives the light from the pineal gland, and that gland becomes more active when our eyes are closed, whether our eyes are closed in sleep or in meditation. When we talk about meditating and allowing external thoughts to flow through and not to dwell on them, what we are saying is close your eyes to the external, and then you are able to activate the eternal. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
So the pineal gland also emits light, which means that light comes from it, and the light that comes from it is the light of our bodies. It is the energy that enlightens melanin. It is the light of the melanin, and the light that we are is the divinity. It is what we have called the God, or what we know better now as Akabalon. We are the source of life. Akabalon means the garden of life, and Akabalon is the true name of Africa, as opposed to calling it Africa. It is the garden of life, and what does the garden of life do? A garden is a nurturing, a place for nurturing. So we are the nurturers of life itself, and it also gives us a keener awareness of a case of consciousness, and that means it gives us a keener awareness of ourself, because we are a case of consciousness, and knowing that we are a case of consciousness, we are also the place of the Holy of Holies, and I'll get to that in a moment in a more in-depth manner. The gland is also surrounded by microcrystals, and the microcrystals emit frequencies. Crystals emit frequencies, and they also receive frequencies. And what the mind of the Neanderthal, the European mind, has convinced so many of us that we need to collect crystals in order for us to receive divine frequencies as a result of being in proximity to these crystals. That is not true. That is totally off base, because the crystals that emit and receive frequencies are already within the confines of the pineal gland, along with the light, along with our essence, along with who we are. So when we talk about my body or my legs or my eyes, uh, who are we talking about? Who is the us? My body, who is the mind? The mind is the light that's in the pineal gland. Uh, this body belongs to me. The light that's in the pineal gland. Is that clear? Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So it belongs to the light that's in the pineal gland. Why? Because that's who we are. So the body actually is dead. There is no Hebraic, there is no Aramaic, there is no Greek, there is no word for a live body in any translations of the Bible whatsoever. The body is actually simply a vehicle that allows us to operate within this physical world. And you may ask the question, what happens with those who are not Acabelonians, with those who don't have melanin? We are the source of life for them. And that means that when the light that we are enlightens the whole body, or it becomes the light for the melanin, then the melanin emits light also. And the light that the melanin emits is life itself. And that is the reason it is not virtually, it is a total impossibility of ridding the world of our presence without everyone in the earth dying along with us, because we are the emitters of life itself. And there is no what am I trying to say? There is no light or enlightenment that does not come through us. I want you to hear this. The reason I say that is because we were told to dominate. From us came all humans on earth. And if all humans on earth came from us, then we have to be the source of life in the earth. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes.
And thank you. And being the source of life in the earth, that means that we are a Kabbalon, the garden of life. That means that we are what we call God in the earth. We are the divine essence of everything that's in the earth. That's who we are. 070, would you mute your phone, please? That's who we are. The pineal gland is the throne of God. And I said earlier that I would come to this. It is the throne of God. It is the link. It is the connection. It is the source of communication between the material world and the consciousness that we are. Everything in the body is controlled by the light that's in the pineal gland. And if you can envision this, if you have to close your eyes to envision it, do so. If you can see the light in the middle of the brain, that's who you are. You are not this body. You are not material at all. You are this light. You are this spiritual light that's in the middle of the brain. And this is where the throne of God is. That's the throne that we are. This is the throne that a Cabylonians sit on. This is the throne of a Cabylon. And I'll get to how I see that, or how I've been shown that is in a few moments. Question, Ron?
I'm just trying to process it. I see it.
Okay, okay. So when we look at the Ark of the Covenant, what do we see? On the Ark of the Covenant, we see two angels are bent over, like touching each other.
Mhm.
And that is a symbol of the two hemispheres of the brain. Are you with me?
Okay.
The two hemispheres protects the Holy of Holies, meaning that the two hemispheres of the brain surrounds the pineal gland. And this is symbolic of the Holy of Holies being in the midst of angelic protection, or the protection of the two hemispheres of the brain. That's what protects the pineal gland. So the sacred center of the pineal gland is the throne of God. It is the consciousness. It is the divine one. It is who we are. So the Ark of the Covenant is actually the brain itself, that is symbolic of the ark itself, or what is in the ark being protected. The ark itself is the pineal gland itself. The contents of this ark is enlightenment, or it is light itself. Are you able to see that?
So the Ark of the Covenant is the pineal gland.
No. This is what I'm saying. Oh yes, I'm sorry. Yes, when the Bible talks about the Ark of the Covenant, it's not talking about a box.
Right.
It's talking about the pineal gland. It's talking about because the pineal gland is the physical object, or the physical organ that the light resides in, that we reside in. That's why it is the throne of God, or the throne of Cabylon. Are you able to see that?
Yeah.
See, we have pictured in our minds a square box with angels on top of it being carried with poles. However, every single thing in the scriptures is a symbol or a message about who we are, as who we were created to be, rather. And it is a message about the creative essence of our being. And the body itself is explained, it is simply a symbol of what the Bible talks about when it is talking about the ark in particular, or when it's talking about a spark, a fire that's inside of us. That spark of fire is actually the light that's in the pineal gland. And when we talk about music, influences us based upon what hertz it is played at. It is because the crystals in the pineal gland receive the sounds of those hertz. And when we really think about it, the nature of the Cabylonian is sound itself, and that is the reason that we are moved by music, or we are not. It's like that music grates on me, as opposed to the music moving me. And in particular, let me hasten to say this. For years, we have said that the Bible was written to be understood by the Acabelonians / the Africans who were enslaved in America. Because we, in all of our searches, have not found anyone who, in one place, who is talking about or teaching what we teach or seeing things from the perspective that the Akashic consciousness is making us aware of. Questions, comments? And I know I've said a lot, and I know that you probably are still processing. However, I will say this. It is important that we understand our makeup. It's one thing for us to look at our biological makeup and see that. That's one thing. But it's also imperative, more so, to understand the spiritual makeup, the spiritual essence of who we are. We can talk about the nervous system is the communications, is communication between the external, between this material world and us, the ones in this living in this enlightened environment. But also understand that the nervous system is also under the auspices of the pineal gland. So it's the circulatory system. The circulatory system is the nourishment, provides the nourishment for the body in order to keep it alive, or keep it functioning, I should say. The nervous system, of course, as I said, is the communication factor. It is wired. It is like wiring the entire body. And when we understand that we are able to emit light that travels through our nervous system, that travels through our circulatory system, then we will begin to understand how is it that one can say, physician, heal thyself, meaning that you have all of the attributes. You have all of the accoutrements that is necessary for you to heal yourself. And that's what it's talking about. And it is not just talking about physical healing of the body. It is also talking about spiritual healing of your mindset, because the mindset has been dominated by the Neanderthal / the European mindset. And we are at this, still to this day, we have bouts with that. And I don't like to term it as a struggle anymore. I do believe we have interludes with it, but it is only a struggle if we make it a struggle. When something of the Neanderthal nature or the religious nature rises up in you, and instead of embracing it, you purge it, or you remind yourself who you are. But that's not who I am, you say to yourself. Then that is not a struggle. However, if you are constantly having to deal with that, then indeed it is a struggle. And you have to ask yourself, why am I still struggling with this when I have embraced the real essence of who I am? When I've searched all my life for truth, and now I'm embracing it, why is it that I still have this struggle? And only you can answer that. The interludes are different. They are so different until they don't matter much. And the more that you recognize them and you purge yourself of them, the more you become aware of the spiritual essence of your being. But guess what else? The more the light oozes from you through the melanin that you are. When we talk about an aura, we are talking about the emitting light. We're talking about light that leaves our pores and enters the environment of the earth in order to be a supporting factor of life itself. It maintains life in the earth. Are there any questions or comments?
I have a
Yeah,
question, Pastor.
I
I
yield.
yield, Charles. Go ahead.
My question is, that's why the scriptures say the body, your body, is the temple of the Lord. And not only that, he said that he would not live in the buildings or any other place, but in you.
Yes. Your body is the temple, and your body is the temple of God. Your body is the temple of everything that's light, that's enlightenment. Now, if your body is the temple for that, where is the light? The light is the light that's in the pineal gland. And that light being in the pineal gland, the body becomes the temple for it because that's where it is currently housed. I will not. God is not in a building. A Kabbalon is not a building or a physical place. It is you. It is in you. Not in you, rather. It is in your body. And the body, the portion of the body that houses it, again, is the pineal gland. So, yes, Charles, you're on the right track. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Evelyn? Or is
Yes, sir.
questions about my
Just a-
response to Charles?
Yeah.
Go-
No, well, yes and no, but this is a quick question. So is the bridal chamber between the right and left hemisphere?
I'm not getting into the bridal chamber. And the reason I'm not is because I don't have the clarity that I need in order to present that in the way that I'm accustomed to presenting truth. However, I will say that the bridal chamber is the place where the spiritual feminism and spiritual masculinity becomes one.
I think that's the answer, but okay.
Okay.
It was a quick thought. Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. Any other questions or comments?
I think George had something, Pastor.
George?
Pastor, as you were speaking, you mentioned about music. And yesterday, when Kathy, was speaking about energy, um, again, we know that the pineal gland, in terms of having the most amount of melanin in reference to melanin being in everything, but I was specifically, thinking about the sun and how the sun gives off heat, it gives off light, and it gives off sound. And so when you were speaking about the pineal gland and how the sun, emits energy to the pineal gland, but at the same time, again, being able to hear or feel the vibration. And so yesterday, I was thinking about, Earth, Wind, and Fire, only because when we talk about music, those are one of the artists that I wanted to do some research on. And I found out that in the 23 albums that they produced, and I wanted to look at the album covers just to see what kind of message that I receiving because I truly believe that, Maurice White, our ancestor, but more importantly, the Kabbalah essence, I truly believe, you know, is in their spirits. And as you say, no, not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost and Spirit of God dwells in you. I know that the Spirit dwells in them, but it was just interesting how we talk about vibration, we talk about sound, but in the kalimba, the thumb piano, that he used, I mean, that was an African, what I mean, creation in terms of emanating that kind of a sound. So I know that again, melanin is in everything, and I know that it has, the power again, for us to be able to create, but it just really intrigued me, just to see, the images in terms of the covers of their albums and even the message with regards to their creativity. So I just wanted to mention it as a thought, but I just felt,
Okay,
empowered by their energy.
thank you. The other part of that, George, is that um, first of all, we are not the Spirit of God does not live in us. We are God, and God is the light in the pineal gland. But that thumb piano,
Kalimba?
what happened is the drums were taken away from us when we were brought into this country, and the priests were the primary users of the drum. And when they took it away, that's when the enslaved people we started invented or created the thumb piano in order to replace the drum. Yet the same hertz that was being received as from playing the drums was also received from that thumb piano. So
Hmm.
so it was a continuation of of the sound that is necessary to for us to emit frequencies in the earth that brings balance to it. That keeps us being not only connected to the physical realm, but also understanding that we are spiritual and we are one with the connected with the material world. And if it had not been for the priests who were engaged in what white folk call demonic voodoo, if it were not for that, the question that I have that I probably may not ever get an answer to is this: could we have survived? Could we have survived if we had not had that resonance in the universe as well as in the earth of the hertz that were being played from those thumb pianos?
Hmm.
And I raise that not I do raise it as a rhetorical question because I do believe that everything that our people did in this while enslaved uh, were what pertinent in that we were able to live through it.
Yes, and if I may, it was one particular song, that I listened to, and I think we may have talked about it in the past, where the lyrics basically talk about mighty people,
Yes.
you know, right, of
Yeah.
the sun.
Yeah.
And it was just so powerful, with regards to what it meant.
Uh-huh.
And I'll just, I'll just say the stanza, but they say, "We are people of the mighty, mighty people of the sun. In our heart lies all the answers to the truth that we can't run from." And I think that's just, it just was powerful, when I read that. And I think it relates to, again, what we're talking about tonight, about not fearing, but knowing that, we receive, you know, from the sun. And at the same time, again, whether melanin is in the cosmic, arena, whether it's in the, plant life, whether it's in, um, the human life. But again, melanin is in everything. And I think that, again, it's just a blessing to receive it in the ways that we do from different people. I'm done.
I, I, and I agree with you. We are the people of the sun, and and the truth that we have ran away from is who we are. We've been running from that for years because we embrace so tightly the idea, the principles of Christianity, and we abandon who we are, not necessarily intentionally, but through force. And now that we are seeing who we are, or being shown who we are, being made aware of who we are, the greatest struggle, George, that I am seeing with the people who have a problem embracing it are the people who look like us.
Yeah.
That's white people know who we are. The Japanese know who we are. Japanese know that their society was founded by Kushites. They know that. They know that they have a strong Nigerian influence in their country. And I rather use Kushite or Igbo as opposed to Nigeria, because Nigeria means nigger area. And is there in a derogatory way. However, when we explore that word nigger, we will begin to see the reason they called us niggers. And it's not what you think. But anyway, I appreciate what you shared from Earth, Wind, and Fire, because they are the primary elements, as opposed to the name of that band. Something else I want to say, George. Oh, go ahead.
No. I'm listening.
When you talked about children of the sun, melanin cannot be separated from the sun, and the sun cannot be separated from melanin. The sun activates the light in the gland, in the pineal gland, as well as produces melanin. That is the reason that you will find sun gazers, especially on the Cabelonian continent. You will find sun gazers there because the melanin enters your brain through your eyes, and the rays of the sun, from the rays of the sun, melanin is produced in our brains. And as you said, the greatest amount of melanin in the body is where? Pineal gland, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So why is it that the greatest amount of melanin is in the pineal gland as opposed to being in the body itself? It comes into the pineal, into the brain through the sun, and from the brain, melanin infuses the pineal gland, meaning that the pineal gland attracts the frequency of melanin. And that's why it is filled with melanin. And and the more time we spend in the sun, the more melanin that's produced in our bodies. If you read the directions or the ingredients of sunblock, you will find that it has all of them are carcinogenic, pretty much. Pretty much every one of them are carcinogenic. And for us to use sunscreen, why would we want to screen the sun? When our bodies are actually, were actually created to be the antenna for the life of humanity.
We didn't know any better. We've been duped into thinking that the sun is harmful.
Yes, I agree with you. But and I'm talking about now with us talking about it, you know? Why would we do that? We did not know any better. Now that we do know better, what are we going to do about it? This reality about melanin, about the sun, about the light that has its abode in the pineal gland, these aspects of our being are primary to change in the earth. They are primary to bringing balance to the earth. To embrace them is to embrace the reality that only we can fix it. Sounds familiar? Coming from a Caucasian? Only I can fix it? Where do you think that came from? These people are familiar with what happens or what takes place in Kemet. Kemet is not a physical place in terms of being called Hakupata as it was then. It is not that, but it's not gone either. My meditations for quite some time has been that I can receive the mindset of the Kemetan priesthood, the priesthood of Hakupata. That's the mindset I want. I want that. Why? Because that mindset has been viable from the beginning. That mindset was in the earth before there was a body in the earth. The essence of enlightenment is what brought into existence a physical body. That is how I desire to process, based upon the light that I am, the God that I am, the Kabbalonian that I am, a Kabbalon itself. That's my desire. And now I am saying that it is no longer my desire, because my desire has been granted.
Ashay.
And the granting of that mindset to me, that desire to me, is seen through what I am being shown from the Akashic consciousness. Because the Akashic consciousness, if you want to use this word mind, the Akashic consciousness is the mind of God. Akashic consciousness is the creative essence of everything that is. And all of us have access. The only thing that limits our access is our desire to maintain proximity to this material world that has been brought into existence by those who are antithetical to who we are. When we dispense with this desire to please this society, more specifically, to please white folks, by staying in church and by submitting to a created Jesus who's in the image and likeness of the enslaver, when we cease doing that, it is then that we begin to loosen the grip that our proximity to European mindsets holds on the grip that it holds on us. We are released from that, and the more we are released from that, the more we are aware of the consciousness, and no one can release you from that mindset except you. No individual can do that for you. You have to do it for you. And the beginnings of it is understanding that you are not your physical body. We know that, right? The church told us that, didn't it? But understand also that you're not a human. You're divine. You're not a human. You are divine. I listened at a video the other night, and what is said, well, maybe last night before last, I'm not sure. But what is said is, one of the things it said rather, is that based upon what we as a people has gone through, we should have been representative of a decline of our population, just like others or groups of people have declined. But we have increased with an exponent of 119%, as opposed to decreasing. And I'm not talking about just the people who live on the continent. I'm talking about us in this country. We have increased. Others are decreasing. Why? I must increase, or he must increase, and I must decrease. What are you saying, John? What that scripture is talking about is this: the hold that religion has on the Cabalion must decrease, and the Cabalion increases. Not only increases in physical bodies, but more importantly, increases in its awareness of who it is. Questions or comments? No questions, no comments? I'm done.
Well, I guess not a question, I guess, but I feel awakened and trying to make sure I get this because we keep coming back to it. And there's a reason for that. We keep talking about the pineal gland and the enlightenment and yeah, just want to make sure that we see this, that we get it, because we keep visiting it. So it must be important, must be something we're supposed to see right now.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely, Ron. And I think that the G spot of the brain, is the light of the pineal gland. So when we talk about the sacredness in terms of our mindset. It's about understanding and grasping and appreciating the God that we are
Hmm.
and being able to now apply it where all that we have been talking about in terms of looking at the Babylonian theory on the origin of the continuum development of the cosmos. So what we're doing is we're beginning to see it in a way that we can follow it from as James talk about the Hecopata in terms of the Memphite theology. And I know that Pastor, not going into it, but I think that it's definitely there in terms of the Babylonian. I mean, in terms of the I'm sorry, the Akashic consciousness, but I think we're now feeling and receiving the power of knowing that that mindset has changed where we're able to receive from the cosmic mother, we're able to receive the principles of Mayat, in a way that we're now walking, in a way that we're seeing the manifestations of it. And I totally can't explain it in clarity, but I know that it's manifesting. And so I'm just, grateful, just to continue on in our spiritual enlightenment, looking at, the the Kabbalah philosophy and teachings.
Yes.
And as we, look at it, I just again I'm grateful for this time because the foundation is there, but the desire, but the potentiality of continuing to communicate and share it with each other, is that blessing. So I appreciate, the conversation tonight and all that has been said. I'm done.
This simply, Ron, let me say this. George, you triggered something. The the subtleness of indoctrination that we don't even give thought to. When we look at what's going on with this war, right?
Hmm.
The people who are engaged with Iran are in Lebanon and in Yemen. The people who are engaged with America and Israel are in Europe. Well, Europe is actually West Asia, but anyway, in Europe. They are called allies. The Iranians theirs are called proxies. What's the difference? Proxies is a negative term. Ally is a positive term. Proxy is no different than ally because America arms its allies, especially Israel, just like Iran armed its allies, Lebanon and Yemen. But they're called what? Proxies. You see the difference? Why does that happen? Because if you have any color, regardless of who you are, if you are not a Christian, you are going to be lessened in the way we talk about you. We're going to make you negative. We're going to make you a proxy and not an ally because we have allies, we have friends. You have no friends. Does that make sense? I know it makes sense, but are you getting this? This is the subtleness of indoctrination from Europeans. And I use that to say this. Please begin, if you have not already started, to question everything. I'm not just talking about in this society, in our environment, inclusive of what we teach. Question everything. Everything. That's how you overcome the subtleness of indoctrination, and that's how you are more effective in purging yourself of these principles that have been that we have been indoctrinated with through religion primarily, and through our education in schools secondarily. Because to every one of us, religion was primary and school was secondary. Our earliest teachers were Sunday school teachers, were they not?
Yep.
And they are teaching. They were teaching and are teaching submission to enslavement. I'm done. For real. I think. Questions or comments? I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your presence. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your ears, your hearts. Thank you for all of you and everything that you are. Thank you for your light.
Thank you.
We are a collective.
Yes.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Rest well.
All right, take care,
Thank
family.
you. Good night, people.
Bye.